There we go. There we go. All right, welcome home to April Fool's Day. Those of you that did Wordle today, that was horrible. I don't know any of you do Wordle, but it was, yeah, it was not good. So that's all right. We thought the first things we'd address, not that this is going to take very long, is 23andMe. I know a couple of you have done 23andMe. Kathy, you have. Anybody else done 23andMe? Okay, Anne has. All right.
I have.
Yeah, okay. The bankruptcy, the 27th, I think they announced that they were taking out bankruptcy. So we sent you some links and they're talking about it. And right now, everything is the same as it always has been in terms of privacy and security, but people are getting concerned about it and what's going to happen. It's how should I say this? They have to get the judge has said that they can sell off whoever buys it, or the company itself can sell off its medical and ancestral data. I don't know if somebody would buy it as a going concern or not, but that we don't are right now their privacy provisions are in place. But if you look at the user agreement, it says that it is subject to change. It always has been subject to change. And that's one of those details that maybe we have never paid attention to in the user agreement when you first signed in. So that's it. So I kind of went through all the ones that started talking about this. Diane Sutherland was talking about it. She says, this isn't a surprise because they've had trouble for the last year or so, but she had a couple points and she said, it's a good reminder that you need to have what she calls personal diversification, which is not just your data transfers, but you should have your DNA on more than the actual DNA. So test with a company, more than one company. So if you tested with Ancestry, you might want to literally provide saliva to MyHeritage or to Family Tree DNA so that more than one company has your DNA sample, okay? Which I had never thought about because most of us just test with Ancestry and then transfer the data over. And she said we should do that, but you should physically test with another company. She said it's because you want to have samples with more than one company. And then she talked a little bit about the purpose of bankruptcy. And the idea is it lets you restructure and take care of try to work it out with your creditors and so forth and so on. So her attitude is don't count them out right now. She did not say yay or nay, you should do this, you shouldn't do that. She says you should for sure download your results from 23andMe if you haven't, and I'll walk you through that process. But if that's the only place you tested, or even if it's not the only place you've tested, if you tested with 23andMe, you should download your results and just keep them on your computer. But you should do that with anybody that you tested with. It should be Ancestry, anybody that would do that. So she was talking about that. Let's see, who else? Amy Crow talked about, where did I lose her? Amy, she was giving me some good ideas. She said, the question is it going to be an asset sale? Is the company going to go sale? Is it just going to shut down? So what if it's sold to a company outside the US, which could be such as MyHeritage? Will they have the same privacy rules as we do here in America? Because there are rules about not being able to use somebody's DNA to deny insurance and so forth and so on. And she went back and she talked about the data breach, which was in October of 23, and that they just, they took down some of those tools. And, she said when she was at Roots Tech, they were the people that were at the 23andMe booth were talking about how they're going to put those tools back on that they took off because of the data breach. So, I mean, that's just, a month ago that this kind, obviously the staff wasn't planning on anything going through that as we go through that. So we'll see what happens on that one. And then Connie Kerr, I mean, she was, or Connie Knox, she was kind of interesting. She said, you know, she's taking a wait and see attitude right now. Again, she's saying you should download your DNA from them just to have it. The privacy is still in place, but as of May 7th, if somebody gets to sell it, because that's when the bids come in, if somebody sells it off, they can change the rules any way they want to. You know, the founder of it, Anne Wojcicki, I think I pronounced that right, has resigned from the board because she wants to try to buy the business as she goes through there and keep it going. So I don't know how she'll do that, but that's what she wants to do. And then Connie was speculating on who might buy it. And she, you know, it's pure speculation on her part. She says she's pretty sure Ancestry wouldn't be interested in it, but she's thinking that maybe MyHeritage might be interested in buying them, keeping it as a separate company, you know, not necessarily integrating it, but keeping it together. Because that would give them an even bigger data pool that they could somehow go back and forth, because they've got, I think, 14 million people who tested with 23andMe, although most of them did it because of health more than genealogies that go through there. So she was just planning it, but she's like, don't, you know, don't panic at this point. She's going to hold off. And she says she's got her DNA everywhere, so she's not too sure of having this one come through. So those are, you know, those are all the, I don't know how rest of you, if any of you thought about what you want to do with it. Are you going to hold it? Going to delete it? Hopefully you're going to download it. So I thought I'd show you how to do this, because they pointed out that deleting your account is not the same as deleting your data, and also deleting your data doesn't do anything to your sample. So it's still there. So let's look at this real quick for those of you that have it. I'm going to share. I'm going to go into, where's 23andMe? Is this it? And that must be it. Okay, let's see what happens. Yeah, there's 23andMe. Okay, let me shrink some of this stuff down. All right. So I have already, I thought I signed in. Let's see, am I signed in? Yeah, I signed in. So there, if we go down, if we come over here, these things are always in the way. Come over here. And I clicked on my account up here by my
You're
name.
not
And
sharing.
oh,
Yes, you are.
yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
is she? My
Yeah,
bad.
okay. I'm like, it says stop sharing, so I'm sure I'm missing.
Sorry, I
That's-
had buried the extra screen.
Okay, so we come over here and we click on settings eventually. And if we come over here and we keep going down, I did this earlier. Privacy and sharing, okay. And in preferences, and we're going to keep going down here. So the first thing you want to do is, after we scroll down here, is download your data. And if we hit view, everybody's is a little bit different. I have to put my date in here, and I'm not going to confirm it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do this. So I can't take you any further. But I don't mind showing you, but it's going to be, since we recorded this, I don't want to put it out. So, but we put in your birth date and so forth and so on, because you set that up when you had it. Hit confirm, then they will walk you through how you download your raw data, and it will just be on your computer. So that's the one thing that you really, really want to do, is download your data, just in case, so you'll have it, and then you can make your decision on what you want to do. The other thing, if you want to delete your data after you've downloaded it, is just to go through here, is to close and delete your there. And again, you have to confirm it's really used. They caution that once you delete it, it cannot be reversed. It's permanently lose access to your reports, insights, profile. And then any pending data download requests you have will be canceled. So if you download your data, sometimes it takes a while for it to happen. So you don't want to then immediately, after you've started the download process, immediately try to delete it. Wait until you get it downloaded, you get a notice that it's downloaded, you can see it on your computer. And then if you want to delete your data, that's fine, okay? Now, what happens is that doesn't take care of your saliva samples. So if we come up here, we find sample storage, and it says you have selected to store your samples. So if we click on this, oh, wait a minute, where's my view? There's my edit. I come down here and I can say, our certified laboratory can store samples for future testing. Learn more. You have selected to store your samples, so you can permanently discard those samples. All right. So once you click on that, it's over and done with. All right. And then you can also, let's see, where's my
Quick question though, Teresa,
yeah.
if you download your data
Mm-hmm.
and then delete it, it said it deletes your account, so then your sample would still be on storage, right?
Yeah, so probably you want to delete your, permanently delete your, if you want your sample deleted, you probably ought to do that before you delete your account. Because I'm not too sure how you would get into it
Yeah, I
otherwise.
wouldn't know how you
Yeah,
could.
but it doesn't, just deleting your data doesn't take care of the your spit is still in storage, and they still have access to it, and they could still sell it. Now, I don't know if they anonymize it, if they, how they would know whose it is, and we have no idea if they sell the assets, if the samples and the data would be anonymized or, or not, but that's, so we can do that. And then, the
Teresa,
other thing, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, real quick. Where you're at here with the storage, sample storage, what are
Mhm.
you under again? I've been kind of jotting down
Okay, let's go back.
preferences.
I
Okay,
was under preferences, and then you hit edit. So here's the edits, and here's all the things that are under here for preferences, and we do that.
okay,
Okay. And
gotcha.
then, there also, you had, and I gotta remember where this was. It's not here. Did you, also, did you participate in research?
Oh, it's
Where
the
is
next
that?
section
Here it
there.
is, the next one. So if I have consented and agreed to the 23andMe research consent document, so I can change that and say I don't want to participate in these anymore. And so they won't do that. So, I mean, there's different steps. You download, you can go as far as you want. You download your data, that's fine. You can sign out of the agreement to do research, your consent to do research. You can eliminate your sample storage. You could eliminate your sample storage, but keep your data there. You could do all sorts of combinations of all this. But one by one, just getting, they just keep emphasizing choosing to have your data eliminated isn't going to take care of the rest of these things. So you need to go through and see what's going to happen. And so it's up to you to decide what you want to do with it. So, but the key is, don't panic. You've got until, I would say May 7th is kind of the deadline, because that's when they're going to sell the put up the assets for, or they can put up the assets for sale. So we need to stay, I'm gonna stop this. We need to stay tuned as we go through there, for those that you have
We
23andMe.
had some questions in chat. Wouldn't
okay.
you also want to download all your health reports?
Oh, yeah, all your reports, everything that you've got there. Most of my reports aren't worth downloading as we go there.
Yeah. And
what
then
else?
I think this is a really good question. One of my questions is, what
Yeah.
kind of sinister things could someone decide to do with my DNA? I've had two immediate family members request I remove their DNA from Ancestry, which I've done.
Mhm.
And this is kind of true on any of the sites.
Yep. I'm not sure sinister is a word I'd use. Although with 23andMe, when they had that data breach, what they were concerned about is it appeared that the testers who were targeted were those that either had Chinese or Jewish heritage. And that made people uncomfortable as to see what's going on. So that was the data breach. Now, if somebody bought the companies, I don't know what kind of sinister things could happen. I can see where people are uncomfortable with the fact that, you know, somehow a non-paternal event is found, or you know, in terms of some, you know, they find out there was an adoption and they didn't know this, or they didn't know grandma. We don't know. Somebody was citing it that grandpa was married and had a family before he married grandma, and nobody knew about that kind of situation. I don't see that as sinister necessarily. It's just
But
uncomfortable. So
to
what
this
else could
next
you do?
question, it
Yeah.
says what information is downloaded, and your matches aren't downloaded when you
No.
download your data. So
No.
it's just your DNA.
DNA. Mhm.
So to Ann's question about what information is downloaded, it's really just the reading of the DNA data itself. You know,
You
it's
know, the AGCT, you know, all those little combinations of 4 letters all the way
Okay.
through.
on each chromosome.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So
So-
when you download it, you can actually look at it. It's a text file, and it just shows you on chromosome 1, and all the way down. It's not exciting reading, but it's there. And it's interesting because I tested both with family tree DNA and ancestry, and I thought, are they the same? And the answer is yes, they are the same. You know, although some of them, one of them will test this section and one of them does that. But I don't know, Glenn, can you think of a sinister?
Not
something-
really. Now, if they have the access to the stored sample,
Mhm,
they might be able to do further analysis of it or something.
mhm.
But one of the big things is that you have about 3 billion pairs of markers in your DNA. The DNA testing companies are only looking at about 600,000 locations.
Mhm.
And they are not even looking at continuous strings. They're looking at specific locations that they think are going to be the most valuable for the type of analysis they're doing. So they're, as far as using that results data for anything sinister, it's probably pretty slim because it's a small percentage of your total DNA. They're not going to clone you from it. They're not going to do anything like that. There's not enough of it there to really give them a good perspective of the 3 billion pairs that you have.
I think the worry comes from people who, you know, they're looking at the health side of it from 23andMe. And then like the little traits that Ancestry had started doing, right? And people are look at that and go, oh my gosh, they can tell if I've got this gene, and that means I'm more predisposed to getting, if I've got the BRCA gene, I'm more likely to get cancer in the breast. Not understanding that that information is not as good as a real genetic test is, because 23andMe has tried to advertise it for so many years of being a health test that people still think that that's what is going to happen. So that's where I think when people are worried about sinister, I think that's what they're worried about is the insurance companies or somebody like Johnson and Johnson or whatever getting a hold of it and being a bad actor with it. I think that's what they're worried about.
Well,
Yeah.
we currently have legislation in the United States that prevents insurance companies from using it for underwriting purposes. And we know European countries are much more stringent on privacy than that we are in the US.
Mhm. Mhm.
Both Blaine Bettinger and Judy Russell, who are genetic genealogists and lawyers,
Mhm.
are both taking the wait and see attitude. And they think that if somebody does buy it and wants to change the terms and conditions, they're going to have to provide notification before they can do that. And then you'd have an opportunity to delete your data if you choose to.
Yeah. So.
So I have one more question. I honestly haven't been on 23andMe for a long time,
Mhm.
but when I was, my matches were different from my heritage and ancestry. So if I want to save my matches, or what would I do? Screenshot them or?
I think you'll have to screenshot. I don't think
Okay.
they have a
Okay,
they don't have a way to download them, I don't think. I'll check and let you know.
There's not an easy way. If you go
Yeah.
out and search, there are a couple people that have developed spreadsheets that you can partially automate it, but it's a complicated process to try to download it.
Yeah.
I've got one that I picked up that does Ancestry. It's an extension on Chrome. And there was a whole list of ones that you can do. So I don't know if he could do 23andMe with that or not. But yeah, but you want to, you want to download your matches. That's one of the processes you want to do, before you delete your data. So
Yeah.
download your data, download your matches, download your reports, and then decide. Then once that's done, you can make up your mind at leisure if you want to do something else with it. So that's it. But so I think you all might remember this. You want to go out and download everybody. So you should have a file on your computer that says Ancestry DNA test or results, and family tree and MyHeritage and living DNA and whoever you actually physically tested with. So I've supplied my spit. My spit is all over the world. So that's it. So, okay. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Okay, what do we got here? Are people still doing as much testing as they did for a while? Is the DNA frenzy slowing down? I mean, their Ancestry still growing. They hit the 25 million, but I don't know. Glenn, do you know if
It's leveled off from the
Mhm.
hockey stick graph, but it's still growing a little bit all the time. And there were a lot of people testing at Rootstech.
really?
Of course, they were
Really?
selling kits for $30 to $39 or whatever.
Mhm. And you didn't have to pay shipping and handling if you were there.
Right.
Or I know I shouldn't say that. You probably had to mail them in.
No,
No.
you could test I know at least in MyHeritage and Family Tree DNA, you could test and drop the package in a box and they took it back to the lab for you.
Good, good. I did my first DNA test at an FGS or NGS conference in Salt Lake City. And it was with Sorensen, because he was doing it. And they actually drew blood. So they had phlebologists there that were drawing blood. And that's how they did it. They hadn't quite gotten to the saliva swab. And they paid you $10, which you then immediately turned around and spent in the vendor hall. So that was it. But that was my first
That was a
DNA.
win-win.
It was. Didn't get much of a report from it at all. In fact, I never did see a report. They asked you for a 4-generation chart, and that's the last you heard from them. So that was it. Yeah. So, okay. So, anything else? Did we get everybody's chats taken care of? Let me see here.
I think so.
Yeah. So Marita was talking about that. And yeah, Marita said, what kind of format is the DNA information in? So that's, like we said, it's just the AGCT. So it is interesting to look at, but it doesn't mean a whole lot to you as you go through. It's just a Word document. That's it. Okay. Okay, so that was the first thing we were going to do. Now, the second thing is Sherry found a video about doing the leads method and using AI. And we haven't talked about the leads method in quite a while. So, and the actual, I gave you the link to it and I watched it and I called Sherry up and I said, oh, Sherry, I have no idea what she's talking about when she comes into when it comes to the AI. I said, do you have to have an account with ChatGPT? Does it cost anything? What is this? What is that? She's promised that she'd walk us through this. Now, there is a class on April 12th. It's via Zoom through IGS on AI for genealogy. Stacy Weaver's going to do it, and she's really, really good. So I'm going to sign up for that because I know I don't do anything at all with AI. Closest I come to it is when I do a Google search because I know they're using AI. But Sherry said she'd have pity on me and get me to walk me through this. But there is a video, and Dana Leeds knows what she's talking about, and she is really pretty clear. But I had no idea when she started what it meant. So Sherry, I'm going to turn this back over to you.
Okay,
So.
I put together a small PowerPoint presentation for tonight to talk through this, and then I'm going to jump over and show you how the AI looks and feels, because she goes through it. It's really high level what Dana goes through. So I'm gonna put the PowerPoint or a PDF of my slides in the chat so you guys can download those while I get my sharing thing going here. Let's
And if
see.
you don't get them downloaded, I'll email it out to all of you that attended. So we'll do that.
There was a lot more AI than DNA presentations at Rootstech this year, I think.
All right, you guys seeing my presentation?
Yes,
Yes.
we are.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
I've got two screens and sometimes Zoom doesn't tell me what I'm doing. So what you're seeing here on this cover page is the one on the left is the table that's created by AI. And the one on the right is the traditional leads method spreadsheet, which is where we end up at the end of her video. So I'm not going to play her video. It's 23 minutes, but what I've done is I've gone through and just made some notes. So we're going to kind of do a quick refresher on what is the leads method, why would you do it, and then we're going to talk through the steps to get to use the AI to help us build that table. Okay, so that's kind of where we're headed. So remember that the leads method was created by Dana Leeds, and she had used this method to help identify her matches as to which grandparent generation they belong to. So this is a way where you look at your matches and then you look at your shared matches and you figure out who shares with who, and then you can figure out, are they in a specific grandparent ancestral line. One of her caveats is if you know in your matches that you have a person who is a descendant of two of your grandparents. So if you're looking at your matches and this person is essentially a first cousin once removed, it's your first cousin's child, they're going to be related to either both of your maternal grandparents or both of your paternal grandparents. And so they're going to kind of skew the chart. So she's saying you want to pull them out if you know who they are. If these are unknown matches to you, then you're just going to work the table. And she has some tips at the end of the video on how to navigate through what you run into, because essentially what we're doing is we're creating a cluster chart of the people that are descendant from one of your grandparents. So that's what we're doing with the leads method. So this is the basic, how do you do the leads method? You want to go to your shared matches. I'm going to use Ancestry tonight because that's kind of where we all have a lot of our stuff. And you want to filter 90 to 400 centimorgans. That puts, of all of your matches, that puts them in descendants of your grandparents. Okay, it's not the extended great-grandparents descendants. You're not getting into third and fourth cousins and all of that. These are people that are relatively close. You might know who they are. Okay, and then what you're going to do is for each one in this list, you're going to look at their shared matches, and then you're going to give their shared matches a color. And you're going to work through each of what she calls the key person. So the way this works is you download your list, and I'm going to show you how to do that from Ancestry and create a table that's got the name of the person and how much centimorgans. And when you do that, Ancestry, when you put them in this filter, just filters them from most 400 down to 90. So it comes in already sorted. And you just start with the first one, you look at their shared matches, and then the people in their shared match list that are in the list get a color. And then you go to the next person in the list that doesn't have a color. They become the next key person. You look at their shared matches and you give them another color in another column. So that's kind of how this works. So you just work your way through them, and then you do analysis on the clusters. Now, ideally, if you don't have intermarriage between your grandparent lines, you will end up with 4 columns of colors. That's not always the truth. I ended up with like 6. And we all will end up with 6 because if some of those unknown matches in your matches list are those second generation, then they belong in 2 colors, right? They belong in your paternal, your mom's mom and your mom's dad. So they end up in 2 columns. And that's kind of what you'll see in the analysis. So I just want to give that caveat of this is the Leeds method basics, okay? So we're going to go through in Ancestry. I'm going to walk through the slide and show you how to do it. And I'm going to jump over to Ancestry and show you how to do this list because it's pretty straightforward, okay? And then we're going to talk about how to use AI to get that. So let me jump over to, I'm going to see, I'm going to stop sharing here and I have to start sharing, see if I can. I've never quite mastered the whole jump from browser to the other, so we'll just do it this way. Okay. All right, so this is my dad's shared list. And so these are real, most of these are living people still. So at some point, we're going to talk about how to privatize this, but I didn't do it right here. So I have got my dad's shared list, and I'm going to go to filter, and I'm going to go to shared DNA, and you'll see here I've clicked on cut. I don't know why it's doing this. 90 on the minimum, and I'm going to do 400 on the maximum, and I'm going to apply the filter. And so what it does is it goes through all of his matches, and he's got like 57,000, and finds only those that fit that little dinky range. Okay, maybe this wasn't a good idea to do this live. But that's what you're going to get. And it's going to be in order from the most to the least. Oh, lovely. And I'm going to, let's just clear this filter here and start again. Most of the time, that's what it takes. Because I had the filter already running, it kind of gets goofed up. So you can see here, I custom centimorgan range 90 to 400. I'm going to apply the filter. And we'll see if, yeah, there they came back. So this is the list. So you can see, you scroll to the bottom. Ancestry is now putting a throttle. I had upgraded this page to 50. So it comes in at 20. You scroll down here and it says, how many pages do you have? I just upped it to 50. And you can see now that I have everybody that's in my pool that I want to use is now visible on the page. Just in case you're wondering, this red is a feature of an extension, a browser extension for the genealogy DNA pool tool. I can look it up and show you later, but that's how they're turning red. It's not that it's anything Ancestry is doing for me. So in order to get this list that I'm going to have to paste into AI, it's really simple. You just hover and you scroll down and you select them all. And I come up and I want to make sure I get all of that. And at that point, I've got them all selected and I just do Control C, which is copy, or you can do a right click and copy. And now it's put it in your computer clipboard. Okay, so it's sitting in the clipboard ready for me to paste someplace else. That's all there is to it. So it's sitting in the clipboard. Okay, now I'm going to go over to ChatGPT. Now, I'm just going to drag this over here so you guys can see it right here. So I'm logged into, I have a ChatGPT account. It's free. And you want to be, she talks about being in a temporary chat. And the advantage of being in a temporary chat is, let me just click on this. Let's see if I could click. If you're in a temporary chat, there's a little chart that comes up and it says it's not going to be saved. It's not going to be used in the modeling, and it won't, or which is means you're going to use this data to train the AI. So you don't want to participate in that, and it won't be saved. And then the other thing that'll let you know that you're in a temporary chat is this little conversation box will be black. Okay, otherwise it's kind of a cream colored. Okay, so one of the things that she starts with, and we're going to go back here. I'm going to start from current slide. So here's what we're going to do. You open up ChatGPT, and here's the URL, and it'll prompt you if you don't have an account. You can create an account. It's not invasive or anything. And you open it up, and then you switch to private mode, which is what I was just talking about. You go to temporary chat where it's not saved, it's not used in modeling, and they don't use your memories. So what happens if you have an account, you can have your conversations saved, and they're part of your memory with ChatGPT. And this gets set aside to say, I don't want this used in my memories. Okay. So it's just, it's just a basic conversation thread. And so what we're going to say is we're going to start a conversation. And in AI, that's considered a prompt. So AI will say, hi, Sherry, welcome back, something simple like that. What can I help you with? It's very conversational. And then you enter a prompt. And so in the YouTube video link we gave you, Dana talks about, here's my prompt. And so she walks you through what the prompts are. So her first prompt is create a table with 2 columns. 1 is the match name, and 2 is the number of centimorgans of DNA. And then she adds, for example, and then you provide it some samples of what you want it to look like. Now, this is called, in AI world, this is called few shot prompting. So you give it a few things that it can do to be really aware of what it is you're asking for, okay? And then you put your prompt in. You don't click return or anything. You just go ahead and paste the data in. So I'm going to jump back over here. So here's my prompt at the beginning. Now I've scrolled back up to the top of my conversation so I can show you what it looks like. Create a table with 2 columns. 1 is the match name. 2 is the number of centimorgans for DNA. For example, I've provided some examples from the data. So I gave them the first person's name and the amount of centimorgans, and the second person's name and a centimorgans. Now, and then I pasted, I followed her instructions. So here's my paste, this goes way down here. And then I goofed it up. It says, it looks like you uploaded an image file. How can I assist? And I said, do you want me to analyze it or extract it from an image? And I said, extract the text. And then it came back and said, let me process this. And it said, something went wrong. Essentially, it says, it seems the full text might not have been captured properly. And so I just told it, let me try again. And it said, go ahead and upload the image again. So I went ahead and gave it the prompt. And you'll notice that the prompt is formatted a little differently. So it's name, comma, centimorgans, semicolon, which is the next row, and name, comma, centimorgans, semicolon. So I gave 3 examples. And he says, I'll extract the text into the newly uploaded image. Let me process that for you. And it says, it looks like the text is incomplete. And then I just said, because I did the prompt, but I didn't paste the data in. So it didn't know what it was doing with it. So here you get to see Sherry make a mistake, and you can see how you fix it. So then I just told it, here's the data. And I pasted from the clipboard on my computer again. So I clipped it down, and let's look at it. And I just pasted all of that data. And then it said, here's the table in 2 columns, just like that. It was that fast. It took the data I provided and created a table. Easy peasy, right? Pretty slick. Let me know if you need any changes or a different format. I said privatize the names with either initials or 4-character label. So then it went through. I didn't have to do anything. I just said privatize the names. And look at what it did. It took all those names and it made initials, and some of them are weird because they were like usernames. And there they are. And it said, this keeps the data structured while ensuring privacy. Let me know if you liked any of the adjustments. And I said, are there any duplicates? Because now we're down to 2-character names, and I want to know, do I have any duplicates? Because I'm going to have to figure this out. Whose shared matches am I looking at next, right? Because that's the leads method. So here's it came back and said there are some, and it gives me this list and tells me which row they're on because it gives me the matching centimorgans. And it says, would you like me to adjust these by adding numbers or modify with an anonymization method? I said, modify those to show a 3-character label. I just said, make it 3 characters. So you can see that it made 3-character labels. So here's the CH1, MK1. It just went through and made them all unique so that when I get going on my process, I can do that. So it says, let me know if you need any further refinements. And on Dana's video, this is where you stop at ChatGPT. So let me bring back up the PowerPoint. And from the current slide. So this is the prompt and you paste it in. And once the table's created, I asked it, do I have any duplicates? Okay. So I'm giving you the same steps that she has in the video and you can do it yourself. Now she has a presentation in her video about she wants to move the table to Claude. Now Claude is another AI platform like ChatGPT. And the reason she does that is it creates it in a separate artifact outside of the chat thread. So as you saw, we went through ChatGPT, the table was right in the middle of the conversation. The conversation continued after the table. So in order to work with the table, I'm going to have to go back up and reference the table or ask it to do something to put another copy in the conversation. And Dana says, I really like working with Claude because it creates this sidebar artifact or creates the table in a sidebar rather than keeping it in the conversation stream. So they kind of come up side by side. So it's a little easier to work with. So that's what we did. So you want to copy the table from ChatGPT to the clipboard. So, and then I'm going to walk through the steps and I'm going to show you how to do that. So you highlight the table rows in ChatGPT. You do the copy command, and then you open up a browser tab with Claude, and the Claude's URL is Claude AI, and you can log in and create a free account right there while you're in the middle of doing this. And then in the prompt space, the prompt is recreate this table. So I'm copying the table out of ChatGPT, and I'm going to paste it into Claude and tell it, recreate the table. Sounds simple enough, right? And then we're going to paste it from the clipboard. So Claude's going to create it as a separate artifact, and then a new prompt will be privatized. So that's what we're going to do. Now I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to come over here to, we'll close this. I'm in ChatGPT. See, I'm in ChatGPT, and I'm just going to copy this table. Just like I copied the elements out of Ancestry. So there they are. I can right-click copy, or I can Control-C, copy. So I've erased my Ancestry matches out of the clipboard, and I've now put this table into the clipboard on my computer. All right. And then I'm going to bring my ChatGPT or my Claude window over. And we're back up at the top. So let me do this. Version 1. So this is Claude. It has a little different interface than what we've had in the past, but here's the prompt. Remember I said, recreate this table, and I right there pasted from ChatGPT the table. Match ID header, ID match, hash, number of centimorgans of DNA. So there's the data. It just went right down there. And it came back and said, I'll recreate the table with the DNA match information in a clear, organized format. It's very polite. And it came back with, let me see if I can get down to version 1. may not come back to version 1. I ran out of, there's only so many conversations you can have in Claude before you can see my little pink. You ran out of free messages until 8 o'clock. But I've got all of the iterations of every time I had it change the table as we went through here. So what you're looking at here is the last one. So we're going to go through the prompts and I'm just going to talk to what we got. So the table got created. There's the table. Let me see if I click. There's version 1. So it created the table from ChatGPT. And I noticed that I've got this goofiness here. So here's the amount of centimorgans was 317. And it put it in the match ID, not in the DNA. So I said, it came back and said, I've organized the table with 2 columns showing the match ID. Note that the entry for F99, so it tells me it knows there's no centimorgans. And I said, modify F996317 to be FRMD with 317 centimorgans. Okay, that's what I told it to do. I said, change that row. And here's version 2. It changed that row. So I can't get in and mess with the table. Claude owns the table. So I just said, modify that row. And it said, I've updated the table. And I said, now create a 3rd column. Now we're going to start doing the leads method. So the leads method means I need another column for color. And I'm going to, my top person here is going to become my key person. Okay. So I'm telling Claude, create a 3rd column called red with red dots for the following people. And I just list the following people. Now, how did I get that list? So I went over here to my ancestry DNA matches. I think this is Genevieve here. Nope, that's James Curdy. And I went into Genevieve's, I'm going to look at their shared matches for Genevieve. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to open Genevieve in a new tab, which is going to come clear down here. And now I can see this is my dad and Genevieve's matches, and I'm going to go to shared matches. So now this is the kit that I'm looking on, I'm making the leads report on, and the first key person in the table. And I'm going to filter, because you can see I got lots of people with lots of DNA. I still need to look at shared DNA, which is 90 to 400 centimorgans. So I'm going to look at that same group of people that my dad shares with Genevieve under his 4 grandparents. So I'm going to say apply. And now I have these people, all of these people that share, they both share with, which makes sense, right? Because my dad shares 266 centimorgans with Genevieve, right? Remember the table? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell Claude, and I opened these up kind of side by side so I could work on it. And I just went through because they've already been anonymized over here. Okay, so I can compare, let's show you. Kyle is 266, and in the table, he's KT. See how I did that? So I just went through all those shared people and marked down their initials from the ID match and said, create a 3rd column, calling it red with red dots for all those people that were shared between my dad and Genevieve. I don't really care. And if I'm confused, remember we've got some that we renamed. I can go back to the chart and compare. Oh, yeah, that's the 224 person. Oh, that's the 124 person. Okay, so I can verify that I'm giving Claude the right data. So I type that in and I hit enter, and it created version 3. So here it created it, and it tells me I've added a 3rd column labeled red with red dot indicators for those that you've matched. And it tells me that. Now, you want to verify that you've typed them right, that they're the right ones, because Claude can't read your mind and he doesn't see the original data. Okay, so, and then I said, and then he has this comment here. CH2 assumes this is the CH you referenced, right? So CH2, he thinks it's this one, and I'm looking at 155. And so I went up and I said, yes, CH2 is correct, and the selected CS is for and the CS as well. So there was 2 of them there that he questioned because it appeared twice in the table. So I just went ahead and said, yes, those are correct. And so it updated the table. Okay, so I'm now on version 4. And so he says, great, the table's correct for those marked properly with red dots. Is there anything else you want me to adjust on the table? And I said, add a red dot for GT as well, because when I did it, I forgot to put GT in the list. So I said, well, we need to add a red dot for GT as well. So I clicked on, and there it added the red dot for GT, because those were her matches, right? So we're working our way through the leads method here. So, and then I tell it, this was the prompt that Dana uses in the video. We are doing the leads method. Add a blue column for the following, and I give the list of people. So the leads method goes to the next person that doesn't have a color. They become the new key person. And so that person is, let me double check here if I have him. No. So that person becomes my next person. I right click, I open in a new tab. It opens up the shared matches for that person and my dad. Maybe tonight. So here's the shared matches. And I have to go to the shared matches tab. And remember, I have to filter the list. So each one, at the time you open up the next key person, you have to change your filter to include the 90 to 400. So filtered matches. And I'm going to go to shared DNA. I'm going to go to custom. 90 to 400. And I'm going to say apply the filter. It takes out all the other people. And you now see I have a list. And then I just went through this list. It's a little shorter now because we're working our way down through less match centimorgans. So I go back to Claude and I say, we're doing a leads method. Add a blue column for the following. So I just gave him the initials of the people that are in the blue column. And he comes back and says, I noticed you requested an entry for SH for the blue column, but there's no SH in our table. I'll add the blue column for the other matches you specified. So I had used an SH. And I'll show you why I did that. So here he creates the column. He added the blue for all the people, but I have to go back to, I have an SH and I have SH right here. But they share 123 with my dad. So I have to come back to the table and say 123. These are in nice and centimorgan, or it got created by ChatGPT as CH3. See how that is? So then I tell it here. It came back, says I've added, I didn't see the CH, and I said it should be CH3. And it created a new table. It says I've updated the table to put the blue dot in CH3 as requested. So here's my next table version, and there's my blue dot pops in. Okay, so now we're moving on to the next key person. So I go up to the top, and which is the next person that doesn't have a dot. So this is my next key person, and I said, create an orange column for, and I went and looked these people up, who this person was. CH1, and I said CH1 MKMSES. So my list is getting shorter. So it's created a green column. So there's my green column. And then I said, create an orange column for the next one. So I'm looking at my next one in the list that doesn't have a color to become my new key person, which is JK, which is right here. Here's JK. He's only got 3 matches. So I have to do JK plus JS plus HJ plus DH. So I tell ChatGPT, add an orange column for JK, JS, DJ, and GH. So it creates my column. Okay. And then I ran out of free messages. But I just wanted to walk you through each of those iterations. And in those iterations, Claude responds with, I created the table. I made the changes that you want. Does it look right? How do I fix it? And you saw I made some interesting changes there as we went along. So you work your way through the whole table one at a time, adding a column for the next person. Let's see, who's my next person? Is going to be LR. So I can leave this up here until 8 o'clock when my time comes back, and I can continue to work on this table. Okay. But I wanted to jump back into the PowerPoint. Any questions so far? I just want to make sure you guys are following along in the process.
Yeah, Sherry, I may be jumping ahead, but when you're all done with what you're doing, can you, is ChatGPT or Claude advanced enough, at least in the free versions, that it can create a spreadsheet out of this for you?
Yes, we're going to get there. So what Dana does is she walks us through in the video on how to create all the columns that you need. Now, right, if it's ideal, you will have 4 columns. But look how many people I still don't have dots on. So I'm going to have another color and maybe another color. And in her sample, she ended up with, like, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8 columns. And it's because you get those first cousins once removed, or even second cousins, that they share a pair of the grandparents, so they are related to both of them. And she walks through how to do that analysis, and that's what I want to show you now. So let's go back to the PowerPoint, and I just want to, from the current side. So this is what we just did. So you prompt can't, she did a privatization in the Claude piece, which I didn't have to do because I copied the table already privatized from ChatGPT. Okay. So here's our steps. You know, we just walked through this. Once you get your table, and then you start going through each of the shared matches of everybody that's in the list. And no, here, I just put this as a reminder, if you have a first cousin that shares 2 of your grandparents, you don't want to use them if you know them. So you could take them out of the table before you finish the table, because then when you do it in ChatGPT and you go, oh, that's Susie's daughter, I'm not going to want to use her, you can have ChatGPT remove that row, and then you go forward without that person in your list. Okay. And then we work with the shared matches. So you saw how we did that. We look at the shared matches, we filter to the 990 to 400, and we work our way through creating a prompt for each new column. Now, she experimented a little bit with getting tired of trying to pick colors and asked Claude to pick a color. And she didn't care for what Claude picked, and so she overrode it. She just said, let's change teal to black. Yeah. So you can watch her video, and she walks you through all those extra little prompts. So we're up to the blue column. And then what she does when she gets the table completely filled out and all of the colors is she gives it this prompt. Please analyze this table. Give insights and make suggestions. And this starts in the video at 10:39. And I'm going to show you what comes back. Okay, so I'm gonna minimize this. I'm gonna bring her video over so you guys can see it. And right here at 10:39, you notice here she privatized their names, and then here's her prompt. So here's what it looks like in ChatGPT, like mine does. Please analyze this table and give insights and make suggestions. So here's her table. And then it gives all of these, it analyzes the work. Now it knows that we're using a leads method. So it applies some logic to this. And I'm just going to kind of jump through here. So it starts with an analysis of the table matches. And then I'm going to watch till, and then it scrolls down. Oh, shoot. No, I'm not playing the tables. Okay, so let me get back to 1039. You can see I'm just dragging this along till I get about to where I want it to be. All right, so here it's doing the analysis. I'm gonna stop her talking. Okay, it does the analysis on the matches. The greens have 5, the orange. It's doing analysis on the data that is in the table. And then it says, hey, these people have multiple group assignments. So it says these green and red, green and orange, blue and yellow, so you can see where some of these people have more than one color. All right. Well, she talks through this in the leads method that these are likely people that are to a pair of grandparents, not just one or the other. And so you can do some analysis, and then it gives you that. And then you see here it does key insights. And so I'm going to kind of roll down so you can kind of see what it is. The blue, and so she says it's kind of funny. Blue, yellow, black connection. There's a strong connection between these 3 groups with several matches appearing in all 3. This suggests a complex family relationship, possibly representing a branch where multiple lines converge. And she kind of giggles and says, I don't think it's quite that complex. But what she does is she goes and looks at those people and who they match. And she begins to realize which grandparent line they're a part of, because these people all kind of come together. I mean, and this is kind of how cousins work, right? And you can see it makes some other suggestions. These groups share 4 matches, some kind of distinct family line with unique characteristics, and high centimorgan matches. It just does some basic analysis. So there's that. I'm going to scroll down, and this one. It says, if most of the people in one color are also in another, you can combine the colors. This is some of the finesse of doing the leads method, is you're going to start to realize that, well, cousins don't always share with each cousin in the family line. You don't have enough to be 90 centimorgans that you share, but you're still in the same group. And so that's where you have to add your DNA knowledge that you have and the knowledge of your tree to kind of clean up these matches. And I'm going to just move on down. Here we go. And then you can see here's some key insights. So it's still going through the analysis there. And then it jumps to, it does some further analysis. So it goes a step further. So not only can you combine these groups, but maybe you want to look at some chromosome mapping, which Ancestry doesn't have. And you might want to do some tree building, and you might want to look at historical context. And, you might want to get into DNA Painter. And she's like, these are great insights for Claude to suggest next steps. But that's not where she's going to go with it. Okay, so then she uses her knowledge of the table and tells Claude, let's merge the following based on overlap: blue, yellow, black, yellow, purple, or red, purple, and green, orange. So she's going to go right down through this table, and Claude makes a new table. So I'm going to jump over to where you can see the new table. And so it turned them from circles to blocks. So it's merged them into these groups, and it changed the header on the table for you. So, and then it gives some more insight. There's some other things you might want to consider and all of that kind of stuff. And it even talks about triangulation. And then it says, let's change the names of each cluster to one color. That's her next prompt. So she changes them. Do I have 3 clusters? I thought I should have 4, right? She's thinking I should have 4, one for each grandparent. And it says you're absolutely right. I apologize for the oversight. Let's adjust the cluster names. And typically the leads method will have 4 clusters. And it goes through and provides some reasoning on why you might not have them. So she walks through some of that and how you might adjust them in your view. And you can see it's giving lots of suggestions for next steps. She still left the table at 3. And if you don't know how matches are related, then use the 9, use it. So she's talking about, stay in your zone, don't overthink it, kind of a thing. And then she flat out says, I am the creator of this method. I can't say that, But anyway, she goes through and makes some additional suggestions. Now, one of the things that we will talk about here, let me go back to my PowerPoint so I don't get too far ahead. So this is I just wanted you to see the kinds of analysis you're going to get from Claude. So you ask it to analyze and give key insights, and it can give you all this information. So group of distributions, key insights, further analysis opportunities, multiple colors, determine where to consolidate. And then she says, here's the next prompt. Let's merge those groups, right? And then view the combinations and ask more questions, redo the key person. So one of the things she's talking about is what happens when you've picked a key person that you went through and made all their matches, but they're actually further down, they're related to 2 lines. And so you want to kind of undo that one and pick the next person for your key person. So it kind of can skew the table a bit. She talks through all of that detail for you. Okay. And then she says, add a name person to the color group, and she, assigns them a name. And then she has it sort by color. So I'm going to want to show you how she does that. So, she has. So here she's broken them back out. She's done some of that work we just talked about. And you can watch her go through that. And she's like, she's taken a couple people that are still seem to be an anomaly. And she says, oh, I know where they belong. And she just puts them in the right column. So she says, add Oliver to the purple one and add Katie to the purple group. And so it updated the table. Okay. And then see if I can get here. And then she says, sort the table by color. There we go. So she's got a single label at the top, and it's like she privatizes the names again, and then she says, sort by color. So now she's got her clusters by grandparent line showing up in ChatGPT or in Claude, sorry. So here she's got this. And then to the question about, can you put it in a spreadsheet? Let's see if I can get to she's going to copy the table from Claude now that she's got it in the number of columns that she wants, and she's got it sorted by color, okay? And she's going to copy it to an Excel spreadsheet. And then she walks you through what that looks like. So here's where she starts to do that. And she pastes it in. So I'm going to show you that too. So here's the, you move it to, from the current slide. I think this is my last slide. But you copy it from Claude. So you select the table details just like we did before. Control C, copy it. You open up a new spreadsheet. You paste it in the first cell, Control V, and then you clean up the table. And she walks you through how she does that table. But I want to just take a couple of minutes and show you how to do it here. So here's my table. I'm not going to futz with it. I'm just going to bring it in just like this. I'm going to scroll to the bottom. I'm going to get all of my cells. I'm going to Control C copy. I'm going to open up a spreadsheet right here. I'm going to say I want a new spreadsheet right there. And in the first cell, I'm going to go Control V paste. Whoops, that didn't work. I'm going to escape out of that. I'm going to undo because I have a table. Paste. Okay, it's good. No, it worked perfectly when I practiced it earlier. So this is the paste special. No, that's not going to do it. Undo. Okay, I'm missing some feature here. Paste it as text. Okay. Nope, doesn't like that either. My Excel version does this every once in a while. I'm just going to create a new one. Create. I'll try this again. Well, don't you know it's not going to work for me tonight. Clear contents. Clear contents. There's a special. There should be.
There's a way, and I don't know
There
exactly.
is a way, and I can never remember how to do it.
Well, you can,
Oh,
I'm
here.
not, I know you can do it. I did it once in a training, but it's been a while, so I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly how, but you can use the insert function and you can insert from a web page and it can copy whatever on that web page would work for a table and put it into your spreadsheet for you.
I'm just going to say insert picture and see what I get. No. So insert.
From, there should be from web page or something like that there.
Yeah, there should be. I
Looking
always
for
hate
the
it when it
tab.
works perfectly in practice and then it never works again.
Makes the rest of us feel better.
Oh, good. I am, it's always a learning opportunity.
Uh-huh.
Undo. So let me try
Yeah.
something else. Let me use the copy here and see if that. Oh, cancel. Paste. There we go.
There we go.
So
That's
if
good.
that using the copy right here rather than grabbing the table. I used the table earlier. And then what she does is she walks through how she modifies the, she likes to have her centimorgans centered. So she goes through and centers her centimorgans. And then, she, I can just kind of show you some of the stuff she does. You can turn on your filter here, right? And I can say I want to filter column C by the dots. And then she highlights those and she colors them red. And then she deletes the dots. And then she comes over to column and then you have to select everything again. So select all. And then you come over to the blue column and you select the dots and you highlight them and you turn them all blue with your little paintbrush here and you delete the dots. And then you say, I want to see everything, turn my filter off, turn my filter on. Oops, I have to come over here. There we go. I had to get out of the blue column. Now I want to see, my dots kind of came in weird, so there we go. So I'm going to make those little icon things green. I'm going to delete those icons. And then I'm going to select all. And I'm going to get out of that column. I'm going to go into orange. I'm going to select my little squares. And I'm going to turn them all orange. And I'm going to delete my little squares. And then I'm going to say select all. And then you can see how they turned out. So this is another way to do that. So the copying came over a little odd because it should be red, 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 blue, 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 green, green, green. But what it did was that when I did the copy, it came in sorted by name, not by color. Okay,
Yeah.
so even though, see here, oh, wasn't sorted by color on mine because I hadn't gotten to that step yet. So when I copied it, they're not sorted. So I was ahead of that sort. If you have Claude sort it, then your spreadsheet will be sorted, but you can then sort this too using Excel. So that's what comes in. And then she says, oh, and then I can make a column for notes. And then she starts to put together, she changes the names from, this is, grandma 1 to grandma 2, grandma 3, grandma 4, because she starts to she knows who some of these people are in her DNA matches. So any questions about?
Sherry, can you remind us of why you would want to do a leads mess? What is this going to tell us?
So in theory, what this does is it takes your unknown matches in that range that are your grandparent descendants and helps you say, oh, GT is part of Grandma Smith's line. So now you know which branch of your family that match belongs to, along with all the other people in that same generational range as descendants of your grandparents. So it just helps you sort through, because you may have a lot of people that, if you're not close to your cousins or you're not close to your aunts and uncles, you may see these matches and they may not have a tree or they may not have much of a tree. This lets you help figure out who belongs to who so that it'll help you figure out which line of your ancestry tree they're in.
Okay.
And then when you reach out to, if you want to reach out and send them a message, then it might be helpful to say, yeah, I think you're part of my Grandma Smith line.
So now, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, okay, so we use 90 as our minimum.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if we used 40 or 50? You just get more, or it gets,
so 40 is going to be less DNA, so it's potentially they're your great grandparents, right?
Okay.
In theory, as you go down in your DNA, you got to kind of put your DNA hat on and figure out what that means.
But it doesn't mean it's going to be useless. It's just going to.
No, and she has in her video here. Let me show you down here in the bottom here. She's got some additional videos that you can see on how to do the leads method and how to do the clustering. And in those other videos, as you kind of stick your toe into leads, not necessarily AI. And she kind of explains on what you can get from this and what you can do with it. And you can see how, here's all of her videos I just clicked on. So when you pull up the link, it'll open here in this part of YouTube. And then up here, you can just say, I want to see all the videos, the other videos for Dana. And you just click on this link, Genealogy with Dana Leeds. And here's all the other videos that she has out there. So see, we jumped straight into AI-powered leads method. And she has a Chat GPT step-by-step.
Oh.
So you could step back and have her walk you through Chat GPT. And then you can see here, she was on a panel with some experts, and you can see all the other stuff, how to fix common mistakes, how to figure out your clusters and all of that kind of stuff. I find her really easy to listen to. The nice thing about her YouTube videos is you can stop them and you can drag the little thing back and watch that section again. You can see she's got hers in chapter view, which typically are then time-stamped here in the discussion underneath. So you say, oh, I want to go to that part again, that color coding part, or I want to go back and see that part again. You can drag it, or you can just hover, see how you get the chapter title there. Not all of those YouTube users do this because there's a lot more editing involved to create a chapter break, but she does it. So, any other questions? Let me stop sharing here. One of the things I think is really exciting about using AI, is particularly in this temporary mode, is that it only works with the data you give it. It doesn't add data. It doesn't create. It doesn't make things up to fill in the gaps. It just uses the data that you give it. and it works through with the instructions that you give it. So if you give it a prompt or an instruction and it's like, man, I didn't think that's how that was going to do, you can ask it to undo that and then try something different. You know, it's like any other tool. You have to kind of use it till you get comfortable with it. And there's a lot of, you know, on the Chat GPT side, there are some of the experts, Steve Little and Mark Thompson, have created templates for genealogists that you can launch their template, and then it tells you in the instructions which data you have to give it, and you give it the data, and it makes charts or pedigree, you know, it does all kinds of things, whatever you want it to do. They've got a long list there. And why don't I share again? I'll just kind of show you how to navigate some of that.
I just saw a webinar with Mark Thompson. He was at the Florida State Genealogy Society, and he talked about these templates. So what you have done here, Sherry, can you save that as a template, or because it's a temporary chat, it goes away?
Because it's temporary, I don't have the ability to save it in. So you can see, here's my login account. And in February, I played around with the relationship to Sarah Coffin in January, and they've now starting to put some structure around them. They used to just be a big long list, but you can do this explore GPTs. And you can see this comes up. I mean, this is like a search, and I could put in genealogy and see what I get. So these are, you know, these are discover and create custom versions of ChatGPT with combined instructions. So you can see, here's Genealogy Eyes by Stephen Little. Look at images, photos, and descriptions on from the eyes of a family historian. And I've seen him demonstrate this, and it's amazing. Here's Diana Elder. She's part of Family Locket. This is the Research Like a Pro gals. She's showing how to use ChatGPT to build a locality guide. So you can go through and just click on these. So, you know, just out of curiosity, you just click on that template, and it tells you, you know, ratings and all of that kind of stuff. And then here's her locality guide builder, more about her. And I could start a chat within her template. So they make it pretty easy. This GPT is designed to find and organize information for a specific locality and aid in genealogy. So I said, what is available for I don't know what her prompt is. She doesn't give us that in the instructions here, but and I'm not getting any kind of a circle thing, so yeah, we'll see what we get. But you know, the templates are there, and Steve's and Mark's are really good because they give you a description of what the template's for, what data you need in order to just fill it in and let it go. And it looks like I'm stuck. So apparently that wasn't the prompt that it was looking for. So it's one of those things, you just have to kind of play around with it a little bit. And there's a ton of, I mean, Diana's got YouTube videos on how to use ChatGPT for some of these kind of tools that they've built. Steve Little's got his, Mark's got his. They're out there and they're available. You just have to dig into them and decide how much time. It doesn't seem to be doing anything, so I'm just going to jump back out. Nope. There we go. So, you know, you just have to decide how much time you want to invest in it. There's a lot of, there were a lot of AI-centric sessions at Roots Tech. Those Roots Tech videos are in an online library. They're available for free. So you can go in and look at them, just rootstech.org, and just look at the online library. Oh, I finally got a response back on Monroe County. Response 1, Monroe County, Iowa offers a wealth of resources for genealogical research. Not too helpful.
Oh.
Response 2 is Monroe County, Iowa offers a wealth of resources for genealogical research. Below is a comprehensive guide to assist you in exploring the various records. And it's taking a while to load. So that's kind of that's kind of, look and feel of it. It's like any other online web tool, but knowing that it's cranking out, it's asking me, it says, hey, we've had a really long delay. Do you want to wait for a response? It's off doing its thing in the background, which is one reason when you read about AI, you hear people talk about the amount of computing power that it takes to run these kinds of applications, because some people don't have little simple requests like build a table with 2 columns, right? I got completely kicked out of ChatGPT. I've had that tab open for a few hours, so it probably got confused. So, any other questions about what I just went over tonight? You've got the link in my handout and in Teresa's email to her video that I based this on, but you can see she's got a lot of other good stuff there available if you want to stick your toe in and just learn basics about ChatGPT or Claude. The other one that you'll hear a lot of genealogists use is Perplexity. Perplexity has less hallucinating. So let me define that term for you. In the early days, ChatGPT was trying to be so pleasing that you'd ask it a question and it would make stuff up. And people would ask about, please find what you can about my ancestor, and this is where he lived. And, they give enough information like a ancestor profile. And then it would just make stuff up, make up military service because he was the right age to have been in the service. So they're working to get that under control. And every iteration of these tools comes out whenever they're ready. They're now starting, one of the things I heard at Roots Tech was that they're now starting to connect them to the internet. Some of them did not do web searching. They were built on knowledge based on the information that were fed to the AI to train them. And you've read articles, or maybe you've heard about authors complaining that their whole written catalog had been used without permission because they used copyrighted material to train the AI. And so there's been some lawsuits over getting that taken back out, because you could tell it, write me a poem in the style of Robert Frost about genealogy. And it's kind of a fun thing to do. If you go out to Randy Seaver's, I don't know if you guys follow Randy Seaver. He has a blog post. And he's been doing comparative AI work. So he's been having it write songs about his ancestors where he provides biographical information about his ancestors and says, write me a poem or write me a story or write me a song. He's been playing with some of the artistic, the drawings are not, some of them are better artists than others, partly because of, where they came from or what they were based on, kind of a things. But if you go to Genia Musings, and let me just put that in chat so you can go look at Randy's stuff. He has a whole section where about once a week he does a blog post on, I compared the same prompts, the same language in ChatGPT and Perplexity and Claude, and this is what I got back, or provided the same information. But behind the scenes, I know this is just, using it as a tool. We know that there are other applications that the genealogy community has used for reading handwriting information. Ancestry was able to completely index the 1950 census, US Census, in 8 weeks with artificial intelligence. They had taken 5 years prior to the release of the census to build an AI that could read handwriting and format with the knowing how the census was going to be formatted. So in 1940, it took them 8 months with people doing indexing. Ancestry did it in less than 8 weeks. So it's, it's a fabulous tool. And one of the things I'm going to talk about at the spring conference is full text search within Family Search, which is their AI tool. And we'll see that in action as well. So any other questions? You got your wheels turning and how you're going to use it in your genealogy. They can help you write stories. They can help you draft a research plan.
So I saw when you were showing us the Explore GPTs and you did a search on genealogy, I did that and I just now did that too. And I looked at the second search result that came up. I think it said something eyes.
Yeah.
And under
Genealogy.
there, it's got a transcription tool. And I wonder, and that's what you're just talking about with Ancestry, but they have a transcription tool. So I wonder if we could like take a church record from 1870 and have it transcribed for us.
Part of it depends on what level of chat GPT you're using for some of that transcription. If you want to take your dad's handwritten journal as a PDF, you've scanned it and you want to have it transcribe it, it will do a pretty good job with that. As you get into the older style scripts, it may not be trained on that. And so what Family Search has done, they've focused on those old style scripts and how they trained their AI. They're getting better all the time, these public facing ones. They're just not designed exclusively for genealogists, like the work that's being done at Ancestry and like the work that's being done at Family Search. But there's just no reason not to use them. When you start looking at what Stephen Little's done and Mark Thompson have done, they're way out in the front.
This one that I found is one by Steve Little. Steve's transcription tool version 3.
Yeah, and just read what you need to do because it'll just you need to probably give it a PDF or an image.
I'm just so curious now.
Yeah, just try it.
I'm going to test it out because I've been transcribing my Civil War letters from my second great grandfather. I've done 5 of 9. Maybe I'll have them do the last 4. I'll try it on one that I've already transcribed and see how close his and mine transcription comes.
Yeah, do that and tell us about it next month's meeting.
I'll let you know how that works.
I would stick to those that are in that genealogy area because they know what we're looking for. Right? Those are people that are genealogists at heart, even if they're techno nerds, right?
Techie people.
They're techie people. Steve and Mark have a blog, a video blog that they do where they kind of talk about what's new and what's coming out and when something gets released. If you want to go find that and subscribe to their audio blog, their podcast, I guess is the right word.
Yeah, that's it. In talking about Leeds method, for those of us that use Roots Magic, the software, they have a thing that does leads for you in theory. And we talked about it when it first came out, and we just kind of put it aside. But this month, which is next week on Tuesday, we're actually going to see we're going to do a little deeper dive and see how it works. You can you do the same thing with the shared match, but what it does is it feeds into your tree that you have. So I don't know. We'll let you know how that works.
Great.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
There's a lot to try to digest, and this is one of those things you just stick your toe in and try it. It becomes conversational. You will find people that will say, I still say please and thank you. I still treat it you know, as a person, as a research assistant that I'm using, I saw a fabulous presentation at Roots Tech where this gal had trained her AI to be her writing coach, not an editor, but a writing coach. And she gave it the tools to say, you are a, professional writing coach, and I'm writing on this. And she had had so much interaction with it that it began to understand her style. So it didn't try to impose a different writing style on her. It was just fabulous to think about the ways that you can use some of these tools where you might have to go hire a mentor or find a mentor, but maybe AI can step in and get you started down a road.
I think there are, so, you just mentioned about treating it like a person. At my job, I've been going through Microsoft Copilot training, and the Microsoft people that come on and train us on that, they emphasize, be polite, be respectful, use your manners, talk to it like you're talking to a person, it will get to know you. And so then, that's the training that we're getting from Microsoft telling us to do that. And then I come and after work, I'm on my own computer and I'm using Gemini, Google Gemini. And it's really cool because I found through DNA matches, I've connected with a fourth cousin once removed in Germany, and he doesn't speak English. And so we've been writing emails back and forth, and I use Gemini to translate mine. And Gemini knows now who I'm talking to. It knows what tone I like to use. It knows like, what do I want formal? Do I want casual? It'll ask me, do you want to use humor? And then it'll take what I write, it'll translate it into an appropriate German conversation. So like if we say something like, it's raining cats and dogs. I mean, if you translate that literally, it's not going to mean the same thing in German. So the AI knows, okay, when you say it's raining cats and dogs, to give the same idea in German, we would say this.
Yeah,
And
they use the euphemisms.
yeah, and it'll tell me, okay, this is my translation. These are the words I chose. These are the phrases I chose, and this is why I chose them based on what you told me. But here are some other options, and it'll give me like 3 or 4. Would you rather say it this way? Would you rather say it that way? And it lets me pick and choose, and it gets to know me. And then I come back the next day and I say, hey, I'm shopping for some sneakers, and I would like to compare this sneaker to that sneaker. And it does, and I'll say, put it in a table for me. And it'll do that. And then I'll say, thank you. And it'll say, hey, no problem. And if you have any more translation you want me to do for your cousin Harry in Germany, let me know that, because I'm still here. I mean,
Yeah, and that was the point of this temporary, was you don't want it to be included in your memories because you're using it for research tools. But if you put it in your, leave it in your conversation thread, it starts to understand what you do. And one of the things that I found was really interesting is if you have a complex story or event in your family and you type it up and you say, please edit this to appeal to a 14-year-old, it will reword the story in simpler language, or give me the instructions for this like I'm 8.
Yeah.
And it will do that for you. So you don't have to do all of that kind of editing either.
Yeah.
You can target the audience that you're trying to appeal to.
I'm having so much fun with it.
I'm smiling about this. My husband always thanks Alexa after she tells him what time it is or something. So it's kind of the same thing.
Well, that's essentially Alexa's AI.
Yeah, I know. But he's very polite to her.
Well, and it brings out the best in us. I mean, it puts you in the right frame of mind. I had always heard for BBC broadcasting, they always went to work dressed formally, even though they were radio, because it puts you in a frame of mind that you speak in a more genteel way. And that was something BBC has always been known for.
Sure.
So, same thing.
Well, and then we don't have to be experts when we're telling it, we want AI to help us. We're not experts, so we can't tell it like in computer programming code what we want it to do. So we're training AI by doing this, and it starts to understand what we, do what I meant, not what I said, right? I mean, it starts to get to know us that way.
Yeah. but it's kind of, it's the next level. It's going to replace Google search. I
Mhm.
mean, you've seen it, the AI come up in all your Google searches, and as much as that annoys the crap out of me.
Mhm.
It's going to have that opportunity to be there for us, more futuristic. And we need to embrace it to figure out where do we want to set our own boundaries on how we interact with it and what it does for us. So,
I can see when the education committee is starting to think about next fall conference, I can see what the topic's might be heavily skewed to.
AI
know what it
is a big thing at Ritz Tech, and then
Mm.
at CC Moore's I4GG conference this weekend, they added a third day. Usually it's a 2-day conference. All day Friday was Steve Little and Mark Thompson. It was the AI day before the 2 days of genetic genealogy conference.
Wow. Speaking of CC Moore, Glenn, tell us what you're going to be doing next Tuesday night.
Yeah, one of the things that CC told us at her conference over the weekend was that on the 8th, on finding your roots, she's going to turn the tables on Professor Gates. He's going to be in the hot seat. She's going to be giving him information about his family that she has discovered through researching his family for him.
So for those of you that like finding your roots next Tuesday night, if you're not part of the Roots Magic group, those of us that are will have to record it of some sort. So that's it. But yeah.
I
That's it.
don't have that option, dang it.
Well, that's what, do you have Passport with public TV?
But I have an LG TV and LG can't get the Passport app.
Do it on your phone. It's not
Ugh.
great, but you could do Passport on there.
It's
I
on
think
it.
to be honest, I watch it on my computer. I mean, I just do
Yeah.
it through the browser.
Yeah, so do I.
Or it's on at 3 o'clock tomorrow morning too.
Or that's set your alarm.
Yeah.
You know what they do? They do actually at Sunday night at 8 p.m. I've seen that they do
A
some
repeat.
reruns,
They
but
do
I
a
don't know
repeat.
if it's the
And then
same.
next Monday morning, about 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, it repeats too.
So the key is to remember the first time it's on is that Tuesday, and then the repeats are after that. So
So the repeat that's on Sunday evening, is that from the Tuesday prior, or is it? 'Cause it's kind
the
of
Tuesday prior.
I think
And
it's the show prior.
Yeah, where's my, oh, I don't have it. I was say, they tell you if you get the
advance.
yeah, the monthly one, they tell you when it repeats. So if you look at it, so.
Cool. Sunday night would be an option. So that's
But the Tuesday night is the first time it shows generally,
Yeah.
and then you
For,
come
for
out
that episode, yeah.
for that episode. So that's it. We love our public TV. We finished our last public, Sherry and I and a few other ones did our last thing last Thursday for the Iowa PBS genealogy series. We had 270 people sign up for it, which is a lot. That was very good. And we are going to have an open house on the 24th from 2 to 4 called Meet the Presenters. We'll be there. We'll sign autographs, have selfies.
Answer questions.
To answer questions. So they're all invited to come into the library. We'll see what happens, how many actually come in. So that's what's going on. And then they all get a free 1-day pass into come into the library if they're not a member. So we'll see that. And we've actually had some people join IGS because of that. So we're pleased about that. So that's it. But it's done. So it's a little bit stressful, but we get through it. So that's it. And don't forget, as I said on the 12th, Stacy Weaver in the morning is doing a thing about writing your history. And I don't know if she's going to include AI in that, but in the afternoon, then from 1 to 3 is a class on using AI in genealogy. So I have the feeling she's going to point you to that same list that Sherry was talking about. And then on the 26th, is that Saturday?
Oh,
April-
actually, I think she's doing AI in the morning and writing in the afternoon.
Okay, I may have gotten it backwards. And then our spring conference is April 26th.
Sixth.
And it's all family search. So there's one session on Sherry's doing on using the what's the
Full
phrase?
text search. Yep.
Full text search. I'm doing one on using, just getting into the records the old fashioned way, the records, the index records, using the catalog and then images. Somebody else is doing, Stacy's doing one on the family tree, which is always a challenge, you know, and
There's
then-
some new stuff coming out with the tree.
yeah, and then doing something on Research Wiki and the help situation. So, you know, that family search is a great resource and it's something that we need to encourage you all to use. So this will walk you through all the things that you need to know. And it's both Zoom and in person, I think, isn't it, Sherry?
Yes.
I didn't talk to him about it. Okay. All right.
Registration is open now.
Yeah, registration is open now, so that's it. And as always, we always record them, and so they're available to you, even if you can't be present that day or you have other things to do. So that's it. So that's what's going on there. We have a jewelry sale coming up in June, so if you got your jewels you want to get rid of, remember, you can bring them down.
Gold hit an all-time price high.
I know. So the more gold, the better. We'll see what happens. So, you know, if you've got your mamas or great aunts or even your own stuff that you said, I just don't wear this anymore. And, you know, we're talking costume jewelry. We're not talking, you know, if you have something especially expensive, you want to donate, that's fine. But we're talking basically vintage and costume jewelry. And I was amazed at how much we sold last time. And last year, the hot thing was pins. We could have sold twice as many pins as we had. And the other thing were clip-on earrings, which the year before didn't sell. And this year, people were just scooping those things up. I don't know what they were going to do with them, because I don't know about the rest of you ladies, but wearing clip-ons is not my favorite thing to even try. So that's it. Yeah.
People do a
So-
lot of crafts with them now.
Yeah, I think so. And then we had people that came in and just bought. We had bags of broken, mismatched, that kind of stuff. You know, put it in a baggie and put 50 cents on it, and they walked off with it. So that was fine. It was good.
Mhm.
So if you've got stuff you want to get rid of, let us know, and we'll take it with a smile. That's it.
And before we wrap up, anybody have a DNA aha they've had this month? Any story they want to share?
I'm going to tell a story, which was a I've been working on a project, and there was somebody that I thought, who the heck is that person? And I'm like, well, she's in this group, so she's got to belong to, oh, maybe that's Jerry's daughter. And so turned out she had tested under her full name, and we always knew her as Susie. So I messaged her. She's a friend on Facebook, and I messaged her. Yeah, that was her, and so forth. And so then I came back to her because I noticed I was doing shared matches, and she had somebody that was supposed to be a niece or a great niece, but that person had a tree online that did not include the family. I mean, this family name was not represented in her tree. And so I wrote Susie, I said, I'm doing this and so forth. And I said, I've got this match to, you know, Megan so-and-so. And does that name sound familiar to you? Because technically it would be her niece. And it's been crickets ever since then. So obviously I asked a question that maybe I should not have asked. So,
Well, and I think sometimes it takes people a while to figure out how they want to answer that.
yeah. And I should not, I shouldn't have asked it, but I just thought it was interesting because I know the girls from that area, because I can tell from her tree who she says her ancestors are. So that's it. Yeah. So that's my oops. Maybe I should have done that. So.
But
Anybody
you never
else?
know. I mean, if you didn't ask, you wouldn't, you know.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Have I told this group about my my new DNA match in Germany. I don't remember who I've told.
Yeah, you told us about it.
I
That
told
was
this
cool.
group.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did, or maybe, yeah, Sherry's saying yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And Carla very patiently sat through Waito with me, and I still screwed it up, Carla. I have to come back one of these days, so.
That's fine. I haven't been back the last couple of Mondays. I've had things I had to do, but I'm usually there on Mondays.
Yeah, yeah, but she had a
And
great class.
It's like all this, it's a tool you have to learn how to use.
Yep, yep. You got to ask the right question, and I wasn't answering the right question, so that's all right. Tanya joined us back. I had an email. She hadn't been with us for a while, but she's back with us, so I'm glad you did that. She's got herself muted and her video turned off, so that's good. But I hope y'all, yeah.
Thank
Anybody
you
got
very
questions?
much. It took me a while to figure out how to unmute myself, so,
Oh, that's
but
all
thank
right.
you. It's good to be back.
Good to be back. Anybody else have any questions? Something? Something you ran into? You haven't been doing your DNA lately? Okay. Well, it's all right. Steve, you obviously have been doing something because you've been talking about looking at that AI group.
My wife is from her family's from Florida, and so we were down there, and actually we were at a museum, and we met people that are related to her fifth great grandparents. No, yeah,
Whoa.
fifth grandparents, and two different siblings. So Martha's the third sibling, and so we had a mini reunion while we were down there on that family. It was
Good.
interesting. So she's really, if you're from Arcadia, Florida, you're probably related to my wife.
Did you know these people beforehand, or did you
No.
no contact with them at all? No?
Never met them before.
Just happened to see.
And it was like meeting them with like long lost friends, because they invited us over to their house, not the uncle, the common uncle ancestor would be their great grandfather. He had built this house, and they said, well, come on over, we'll give you a tour of the house. And
So
Oh,
were they volunteering at the museum, or how did you connect?
they were yeah, they were members of the museum down there. Yep. And then a week later, we got together with them to tour the house, and they said, we've invited some other cousin, a sister of these, a brother, and my wife was related to one of the sisters. So it was quite interesting. Let's see, a fourth cousin once removed and a third cousin twice removed of my wife.
Super.
Yeah, it was very friendly.
So now they talk about their cousins from up north.
That's right. Yeah. But I haven't done yet, but I want to see if they had, one of them I think has done a DNA test, and I need to go find her on Martha's mother's side. So
Good.
yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we're done for the night. So if you think of anything you want to talk about before next May, then our next meeting is in May. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Life is flying by. Just send an email off, and if you've got questions in the meantime, we'll see what we can do. Otherwise, we'll send you off and batten down the hatches, because it's gonna be windy tomorrow.
I have a friend that's an amateur meteorologist, and he posted a blog tonight. Tomorrow's Bliznator. It's gonna super cold, snow, wind.
Yeah. We're already getting that up here.
Are you?
Northeast Iowa.
Oh,
Yeah,
good day
it's
to
coming.
stay in. Good day to stay in. So that's it. Okay.
Play with your AI tools.
Yeah, play with your AI. If you got to stay home, let's do that. All right.
That's right.
Okay. Well, we'll see you all next month. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.